Hey, it's Nick. I'm coming at you with a video. I'm going to the Salvation Army and it should be a lot of fun. I'm looking for clothes, I'm looking for books, so we'll see what we find. Alright.
Hey guys, it is Spooky Noodles, and I don't know why I'm awake, but I decided to make a quick book haul video because I went to a Salvation Army, and man, did I hit the mother load. And it might not seem like a mother load to you guys, but for the books I usually find at Salvation Armies, I usually find 1 to 2 books. I never get this lucky, so... And maybe the books aren't even that interesting to you guys, but again, coming across books at Salvation Armies is kind of hard. And I came across quite a few books that I found interesting, so I'm going to share with you guys what I found today. And I should have made some room, but I didn't, so we're just going to go and wheel and deal and see how we, where we go, what we get. Can't talk right now. I got a bag here, sorry about that. I'm just gonna pull books out of this goodie bag and then we'll talk about it. Oh, and the first one I get is The Exorcist. Yeah, I know. I already own this book, but this book looks to be in better condition. If it wasn't for that stupid thing across the cover, you know, but it's not much of a cover anyways, so it's a good reading copy. But yeah, pretty cool stuff, guys. And if you don't know what The Exorcist is about, where have you been living, man? You've been living under a rock, because The Exorcist is one of the biggest movies there is in horror. So if you watch this channel, you've probably seen or heard of The Exorcist, so I'm not going to read the back for you. Alright, next. I'm not really sure about this book. Because I'm not really a fan of the movie. And, well, it's Jurassic Park. But I found it, so I was like, I need to grab it. It's just, it never piqued my interest, Jurassic Park. I thought the raptors were pretty cool, like the scene where they're in the kitchen, the kids, and the raptors are, you know, trying to listen for them, and they're unlocking doors and shit. I thought that was pretty cool, but regardless, you know. And if you don't know what Jurassic Park is, again, you've been living under a rock, so I can't help you. And this one, I'm hoping I can fix the cover, because it's kind of falling off a little bit. But it's Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire. I've never read an Anne Rice book, and I thought this was a good place to start. I've seen the movie, so I kind of enjoyed the movie, so... Basically, a vampire comes to this writer and is like, hey, I got a story to tell you. He tells him the story, and it's basically the story that he's telling is the whole book, so... Yeah. At least that's what I get the gist of, that's what I get with the, movie. I don't know if the book's different. Alright, this one is kind of unfortunate, because, the cover's a little bent, and it's got a sticker that I want to get off really quickly. But actually, when I picked this book up, I thought the corner was ripped off, but I just found out that it was just bent in, so that's cool. And this is Richard Perry's Venom Virus. I thought the cover was pretty neat. You know, I don't know if you guys get this out of this book, but you got the snake going up the doctor's arm with the, you know, the shot. It kind of reminds me of the picture of, you know, you got the medical picture with the 2 snakes going up thing. Yeah. I have no idea what this is about, actually. I guess it's about a contagion that happens, and it's a killer virus that's attacking people. And yeah, if you guys want to check it out, I can, like, I don't know if you guys can read that or not, but pause it if you can. I don't know, I read it there and I thought it was pretty interesting. So alright, next we have Dean Koontz' Odd Thomas. I'm not really a Dean Koontz fan at all, but I thought I'd give him a shot. I actually have in my coming of age TBR, I have Voice of the Night. So, you know, I am going to give him a shot. I hear he has a lot of flops and he has a lot of hits. Like, he has more flops than he does hits. And that's unfortunate to hear, but supposedly this is one of his better books. And if I do read this book, there's no chance I'm reading any of the other Odd Thomas books because I don't like series. They drain me, and I don't want to read a series because chances are, I mean, it all could probably be wrapped up in one book. So that's just my opinion. I don't like series, but I thought I'd give Odd Thomas a chance. Trying to get all the paperbacks out of the way. That's my mom's book. Ah, here we go. Ooh. This is one I'm excited about because I found this at Brown's bookstore and Brown's Family Bookstore, and I was gonna buy it there, but I said, you know what? No, let's go and because I keep myself to a limit, and I was like, this isn't a book I necessarily need now, but I think it's cool. And then I found it here at Goodwill or a Salvation Army, and it's by Gene Thompson, and that's Lupe. And from the gist I get from it, it's kind of like an evil little boy, doing evil little stuff. Like, let's see here, Emily Brooke begun to share na 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 na. Yeah, Emily, whose only hope may be a grotesque 11-year-old boy with a demonic sexual craving. Yikes. But that's Lupe. Here's the back to it if you want to read it. Pretty interesting stuff. I didn't even show you the flap inside. It's basically a little boy in like a deathbed or a coffin or something. I don't know, but this book was the most interesting to me out of all the books I found. It just sounds ridiculous. I'm trying to pull out all the paperbacks first, guys. And then I'll show you the hardbacks. This book, I'm not really much into medical thrillers, and I found another book by this same author, Michael Palmer. But it's like listed as a horror, so, and the cover kind of creeped me out a little bit. And it's got like a little thing right here from John Saul, and John Saul says riveting terror that carries through the very last pages. So that's the Sisterhood. Those three little those three nurses there, just hello nurse, right? Those nurses there creep me out. So I thought that was kind of, they're a little creepy, and the note on the back from John Saul sold me. So And I believe those are all the paperbacks. So we're gonna move on to the hardbacks. This one, as you can see, it's seen better days. But I see people talk about his book, Harvest Home or something, and the others. And I never even heard of this book before. But it's by the same author. And that is The Night of the Moonbow by Thomas Tryon. I was like, I know that name, but I've never seen this book before. And it could possibly be that this is not a horror novel, which would be very unfortunate. But I don't know. It seems there's no back to it, so I didn't read anything. Good looking guy, by the way. Oh, that's pretty. I just opened the inside of the hardback. It's like a map. I didn't even notice that. That is so pretty. Oh, pretty book. You got there one of them pretty good books. Let's see here. It's supposedly chilling. This is back in 1938. He draws us into an idyllic landscape, a sunlit world that evokes a halcyon days of all of our childhoods. Oh wow, that was hard to say. It is summertime at the Bible camp of Friend Indeed. Nestled among the tall pines of the shores of Moonbow Lake, the teenage boys of the cabin called Jeremiah and their glamorous counselor Reese Hartzig, in every way a star, a hero to the camp for his athletic prowess, his commanding presence, even his reputation as a heartbreaker, eagerly await the arrival of a new camper. He is to replace the homesick bedwetter whose presence for the first 2 weeks of the season has cost the cabin its traditional place in honor of the best, holder of more trophies, winners, and more prizes, mostly Bibles, than any other. But instead of all-around camper and great ball player they have hoped for, what they get is Leo Joachim, a mysterious orphan who is a prodigy on the violin, who collects spiders, who throws a ball like a girl, whose very presence, awkward, timid, smart at the wrong times, upsets the time-honored rhythms of camp life. So it's about a strange little boy who enters the camp, and yeah. So I think I read enough of that. It's time to move on. And move on we shall. Now the next book I already own, but I don't own it in hardback, and that's The Servants of Twilight by Dean Koontz. Again, very hesitant to read Dean Koontz from what I hear, but my first Dean Koontz book is probably going to be The Voice of the Night. But that's another Dean Koontz book. I have no idea what it's about, and I'm not going to read it. Sorry, guys. Next, we have a book I probably already own, but this just looked very nice. Like, this is like a pristine Stephen King book. Oh, Stephen King, by the way. I've never seen this well kept of a book in a bin at Salvation Army, and that is Nightmares and Dreamscapes. And if I'm not mistaken, which I probably am, this book has one of my favorite stories in it. Now again, I could be wrong, but let me just really quickly see the contents and see if it is in here. Da 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 da. Holy cow! These stories are long. Oh. Well, I am mistaken, because I do not see my favorite story by Stephen King in here. I do know of that story. You know they got a hell of a band. It's in my shock rock anthology. So I don't know what my hair's doing there. Part of my shock rock anthology, and I'm looking forward to reading that story. But other than that, I've never read any of these stories before. So that's a little... Anyways, I thought for some reason I don't know. I'm not going to say it because you guys are going to be like, oh, that was obviously not in this book. But, yeah, I don't know when it... But anyways, found this. So I'm going to see if it's better than the version I already own. Or what. But, yeah, we shall move on. And next is something I just found. I don't know if it's any good. It's supposedly part of a collection of stories. And, yeah, it's called Bedtime Stories. I've never heard of it, but I guess they were kind of selling it as like a Goosebumps or a scary stories to tell in the dark. You know, they were trying to sell it like that, or Michigan Chillers. If you're from Michigan, you know what Michigan Chillers is. It's a pretty cool, it's like Goosebumps basically. I've only read one Michigan Chiller and I loved it. It was called The Gargoyles of Gaylord. I bought it especially for the name because I cracked up at the word Gaylord. And I just remember that. I don't know why I remember that part of it, but I just remember laughing at it and then reading the book, and I was like, this is good. You know? I don't know, but I saw the cover for this, I read the back, and it just intrigued me. And that is The Beast of Bakerville. Bakerville. Yeah. And this has a short little summary, so I'll read this one for you. The twisted horns shot out of his skull, while the two goat-like hooves grew in place of 10 human toes. His eyes burned red like flames, and every inch of his body was covered in matted black hair. Jimmy Leeds was supposedly so hideous that his witchy mother tossed him down the well on her property, hoping to be rid of him. But Jimmy Leeds didn't die. Instead, he grew into the beast. Rumor had it that every so often, Jimmy Leeds had climbed out of the well to feed on innocent children. Some people believed he still did. So, it's about this goat-like monster basically terrorizing people. And holy cow, the font is gigantic. So this is obviously not an adult book, but regardless, I think I'm gonna like it. There's another summary here, but it's the same one on the back. And this is made by two sisters, Annette and Gina Coscone. So, I don't know. It sounded interesting. I know it's probably a YA novel. Or not even a YA, probably a kid's book. But, I don't know. And this is the last but not least. It's, It's kind of a, you know, I just remembered I had another book, but I don't know where it went, but, oh, it's over there. But it doesn't matter because it's the same book, as this one. It, how can I explain this? Have you ever seen Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? The movie? I haven't. I remember watching snippets of it that when it came on television, but I never watched a full movie. But I just remember this one scene where they're trying to figure out what the meaning of life is, and they find this all-knowing entity, and the entity doesn't know. So it was supposed to be funny. Supposedly this is a funny sci-fi book, and it has all of the stories from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the more than complete Hitchhiker's Guide by Douglas Adams. As you can see there, it's got the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the restaurant at the end of the universe, life, the universe, and everything. So long and thanks for all the fish, and young Zapvoid plays it safe. So it's a bunch of sci-fi comedy stories. Yeah. Thought it was worth a try, you know. It's a very nice book. But yeah, I found it for 50 cents, so yeah. All these books were 50 cents. And that wraps up my book haul. I think the book that I'm most looking forward to reading is definitely, where is it? Lupe? At least that's how I think you say his name. Because little evil children scare me, so, you know, looking forward to that. And my legs are asleep, guys. Okay. I'm not gonna hold up the, that Thomas Tryon book, though, looks pretty interesting. I don't know if it's any good, but everyone talks highly of him in his writing. His two books, The Others and Harvest Home. So I'm looking forward to reading a different book by him that no one talks about. So when I'm gonna get to it, I have no idea. My TBR is huge. I have a whole coming of age TBR, and right now I'm currently reading some Clive Barker books. Oh, by the way, Hellbound Heart, The Hellbound Heart by Clive Barker is absolutely amazing so far. I totally get it. I totally get the hype on this guy. You know, oh my god, my legs hurt so bad. Oh my gosh. I get the hype on Clive Barker. He's just amazing. Like, I've never ever thought I'd say that. But Clive Barker's amazing. His writing's phenomenal, and I don't understand why it took me so long to read him. And oh my gosh, my legs hurt. But I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Have a spooky night, and as always, yeah, I'll talk to you next video. I screwed that outro up so bad. I'll